All right, what's up, retards? We are back with another episode of the CarTARDs podcast. Today I have a very special guest with me. His name is Kyle. Say hi, Kyle.
Hey, everybody.
And we're going to be talking about a few different things today. We're going to be talking about the Superbowl car ads. I know it's a little late, but, finding relief co-hosts is hard, so finally found Kyle though here, so we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to be talking about the new Hellcat Durango, and some other things like motorcycle chariot racing and a little Ira scooter that I saw that I hated. All right, so let's get right into it. Kyle, did you watch the Super Bowl?
I watched a little bit of it, not the whole thing.
How do you feel about them Chiefs?
Oh yeah, rather them win than the Niners.
Yeah, my roommate's a Niners fan, and we were all so happy, and he was just so sad. It was really funny to watch. But yeah, no. So there were a few ads out there. There was the Jeep Gladiator ad, the Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. That was a pretty good ad. I'm just going to go through them all right now. The Toyota Highlander, the Kia Seltos, the Hyundai Sonata, the Porsche ad, the Audi e-tron, Genesis GV80, and the electric Hummer. Those were pretty much every relevant car ad, and relevant to like car people anyway. So yeah, so let's start talking about the Jeep Gladiator. How do you feel about the new Jeep Gladiator, Kyle?
Well, I think the Gladiator is pretty cool in concept. I mean, having a Jeep pickup that comes from the factory with locking differential and all that stuff is pretty cool. However, I don't think FCA really does a good job manufacturing vehicles. I think they're pretty cheaply made, and I think the wheelbase should have been longer on the Jeep. It sits really weird. The overall, I think, is pretty cool. I think it is a good looking rig, but
yeah. And it would be nice to have a longer wheelbase, but you don't want it to like high center itself. But I don't know. I don't really like the Jeep Gladiator just because it's so, I don't know. Just the Wrangler front with that boxy, like weird truck back just doesn't look right to me. And I really liked the look of like the Jeep Comanche back when they made that, because I don't know.
I like the Comanche. I was a Comanche fan as well.
Yeah, I love Comanche. I think Comanches are one of the best looking trucks, light trucks in existence. But I don't know. The whole, it just looks weird to me. I don't know. And the fact that the front fenders are larger than the rear fenders is also really unsettling if you look at it from behind.
I agree. It looks very strange.
Yeah. I think that in a pickup, it had the rear, because the rear ones are almost always bigger than the fronts on like any truck, especially older trucks, like I don't know, like an old Chevy truck or something with the big swoopy rear fenders. They're always bigger than the front fenders. And so it's weird to see the front fenders being bigger than the rear. And I think that's why I don't like the look of it. Because generally I really like the look of Jeeps, especially with the 7 front slats. 7, right? Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
The classic.
I like the front end. The overall look is all right. I think they could have done a better job incorporating the pickup bed so it doesn't look like they just took a Jeep and slid the rear axle back and plopped a bed on it.
It kind of looks like an afterthought.
Right.
Like it kind of looks like they just took a Wrangler and put a bed on it, which is basically what it is, but yeah.
Right. And so as far as like, I don't know, all their ideas, I think everything's good in concept. They have a 3.6 liter V6 with almost 300 horsepower and a 6-speed manual transmission. I mean, that's fairly impressive, you know.
Oh, it's got a 6-speed?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. 6-speed manual.
I like that. I like that.
All models actually. So the Sport S, Overland, and the Rubicon.
That's pretty sick.
Which, yeah. So, but as far as quality goes, I think they could have done a lot better, and I think Fiat Chrysler could do a lot better in all of their vehicles as far as quality goes. So.
Yeah, the newer Chryslers are not great. As like when Fiat took them over, a lot of things changed, and the general build quality was one of them. And
absolutely.
But I mean, they were always kind of going downhill with their quality. Like my family has a 2010, I think, Dodge Durango, and it's just like the interior quality is just awful. Everything's plastic, and no, it's not a 2010. Never mind. It's like a 2007.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it's like a 2007 or something. But it's just the interior quality is god awful. Everything about it is just kind of like cheap feeling, and like all the trim and stuff falls off, and some of the vents are broken. It's cheap.
Yeah, very cheaply built. I get that feeling from a lot of them.
Maybe if you got like, I don't know, what is it, the Aspen, which is like the like not Plymouth, Chrysler Aspen, I want to say. It's like the little more luxury brand, and maybe it's a little nicer inside, but I don't know. I feel like the Aspen would just have like more fake wood.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, and like my 2002 Subaru is like nicer inside than, other than being tiny, is nicer inside than the fucking Dodge big ass thing that's supposed to carry like 10 people comfortably. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely could just, focus just a little bit more effort or money spent or whatever on quality parts and building, and it would be a lot better rig.
Yeah. The what is it? I feel like the new Gladiator is going to be the same, and I wonder what the new Ranger is like inside. I've heard they're kind of nice, but I wonder if it's just a huge piece of shit inside, like most cars these days.
I haven't seen any.
I know somebody who just bought a new Ranger, and it kind of makes me jealous, but at the same time, I don't think I want a new Ranger. So they got a weak engine, but they're so big that they may as well, like, they need the strong, like, it's not worth it to have a weak, like a light truck engine in a truck that's the size of a big truck.
Right. Yeah, it's still technically classified as a mid-sized pickup, I think, but it's almost
it's the
big
size
enough
of an F-150.
to be. Exactly. Yeah.
That's kind of the frustrating thing, is because of regulations for like highway regulations and stuff. Everything is getting bigger and more bulbous, so that it's a little safer, but it's also like so much harder to see out of, that it's like, is it really safer if you can't see out the front?
Yeah, exactly. They're sacrificing visibility for all these huge pillars and more everything.
Yeah, like so it's kind of funny. I play a lot of dirt rally. And you can drive, like anything from 60s rally cars to, like brand new ones basically. And the difference in visibility is ridiculous. Like, you can't see anything out of new ones. They've got like a foot of visible glass area
Yeah.
from top to bottom. It's like, what? How do you expect anyone to see out of this?
Exactly.
But let's move on to, what was the next one? What was the next ad?
The Kia Seltos.
Kia Seltos? Or there's Toyota Highlander too. Well, we can talk about the Seltos first. So I don't really know a whole lot about the Seltos.
Right. Yeah, I just started looking at it today, actually.
It's Kia's newest SUV.
Yeah. So turbo option, I think it comes with 1.6 turbo. Am I thinking of the right one? 1.6 turbo or a 2.5?
Yeah, 1.6. Available 1.6 liter turbocharged with 195 pound-feet of torque and all-wheel drive. 195 pound-feet of torque is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. The commercial for this one was pretty cool. It was the one with what's his name? Josh Jacobs, the current running back for the Las Vegas Raiders. Grew up as a homeless child in Oklahoma and is now playing professional football. So that's a pretty cool story. If you know the story behind it, I just read that today, actually.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so cool commercial, and I don't really know much about this car, but the whole 175 horse with the turbo engine and a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and it advertises
dual clutch. That's actually probably. What's funny about Kia is they don't have, like, they're so disrespected as a car maker that, like, they advertise like we've got a turbo, and then they advertise their heated seats.
Yeah,
like almost every car has heated seats today.
I know it. Yeah, anything newer than like 2005.
The I suppose because it's a Dodge, it's kind of gonna be that way. But I drove a brand new 2019 Dodge Challenger Hellcat.
Okay.
And it had heated seats, and it had a heated steering wheel, and that was really nice. The heated steering wheel was so nice.
My older brother and his wife just had to rent a 2019 Jeep Cherokee, and it had a heated steering wheel.
Yeah.
But they did not really like it.
I do like that it has the like 50-50 split to the front and rear, so you can actually probably do a little bit of off-roading with it. But I wouldn't trust it to not get like high centered. So it looks like it would high center itself and drag its oil pan on something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, all these newer cars that are advertising their off-road capabilities and stuff, they have all-wheel drive or whatever, which they don't have any more off-road capability than anything prior. To make something really off-road capable, you have to do a lot of work to it yourself. Lift it and give it a higher ground clearance, so you're not
exactly
any of that.
If you want to do actual off-roading, if you want to drive down the dirt road to your grandma's house, that's one thing. But if you want to do like actual mudding or off-roading,
exactly. If you live in North Idaho like we do, the all-wheel drive is nice for winter. You don't have to worry about getting stuck just going around town. So however, I do wish, instead of doing a standard 2-liter 4-cylinder and an optional 1.6 with a turbo, why didn't they just do a standard 2-liter and a 2-liter turbo option?
Yeah. Well, I think they chose the 1.6 because the 1.6 is lighter. A 1.6 turbo is lighter, but it has a similar power figure or more power compared to a 2-liter. So you get better fuel economy that way, while still having a sporty feeling car. So that way you can get 30 miles a gallon on the highway because it's lightweight. You can still get still like drive it and it feels mostly sporty. Although a 1.6 in a car that heavy is going to be real gutless under at low RPM. It's just not going to have much.
I see that.
They don't tell me a whole lot about the engine. I don't know if it has variable valve timing on it.
Oh yeah, I don't know either. But yeah, like you were saying, being fairly gutless down low, it has the 195 foot-pounds of torque in the 1.6 turbo option. But 175 peak horsepower isn't until 6,000 RPMs. So to get this car going anywhere, you're gonna have to drive it as a sporty car. You can't just
and the if it does, the variable valve timing helps a little with down low, but it can only do so much. It makes 195 foot-pounds of torque at 1,500 RPM, and it makes 175 horsepower at 6,000. That's actually really good, though. 195 foot-pounds of torque at 1,500.
Yeah, for a 1.6 liter, that's impressive.
That's really impressive. So you got the S turbo. And what's funny though, is that if you get the S, I hate how they name all their trim levels now. Just call it base. Can you please just call your normal thing base? The cheapest option, just call it the base. But it's front wheel drive, and it's the same price as the LX with the intelligent variable transmission, torque vectoring, all-wheel drive with center lock, blah blah blah, 17-inch alloy wheels. It's the same price as that, and it doesn't even tell you what engine it has. S 21,990, and it's got the 2-liter. So it's the same. The front-wheel drive version is the same price as the all-wheel drive version with the same engine.
Strange.
What? It has auto emergency braking and lane keeping and departure stuff. That's the only difference.
Yeah, see.
What?
So what's the point?
Why would you buy that? Why would you buy the S trim, the base, when you could buy the LX for the same price? And oh my god, that is stupid. What the fuck, Kia? At least give them an incentive of price.
I guess probably the draw for the front wheel drive would be the increased fuel mileage, but the average is still the same at a 31 mpg combined. But it claims 29 city and 34 highway in the front wheel drive, whereas the all-wheel drive is 27 city and 31 highway.
You get a little less. Okay, so you get a little less mileage,
right?
But still,
all-wheel drive.
Just I don't. You should never buy a crossover as a highway car. That's my firm belief. You should just buy a Chrysler 300 or a sedan or a coupe or something that's not a shitty little front wheel drive SUV. Because an SUV the whole point is that it's a sport utility vehicle. It can't be very utilitous if it's only front wheel drive.
Right.
I don't know. I just think that's stupid.
Right. And I mean, I guess, people who live in a city in California or somewhere with a warmer climate where they never need all-wheel drive, then maybe this would be a better option. But
yeah, but you're only you're wasting gas is what you're doing because it's not as aerodynamic and it's heavier. There's more metal
in the,
to it.
all-wheel drive.
Yeah, well, no. In just a crossover in general compared to like a coupe.
Oh, right, but I mean the draw to a crossover is the size and how many people you can fit in it and how much like groceries or whatever.
You can fit a shit ton of stuff in like a old Lincoln.
Yeah, you can, but you know, people
Lincoln
like
with
the new crossovers and their
Hey Kyle, don't you love the North Star V8?
Oh yeah.
Do you know the North Star V8, right?
What did it come in?
They came in those Lincolns, like the Lincoln something. Wait, no, it wasn't. Sorry, it was a Buick? Or wait, maybe it was a Lincoln.
It was a Cadillac.
Cadillac. I'm an idiot. Sorry, viewers, I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah, no, the Cadillac North Star V8 was fucking awful. Apparently, it just wasn't reliable or something.
Oh yeah,
think-
there's the 4.6 and the 93 Eldorados and everything.
I kind of think they're cool because they're a
Right.
32 valve V8, like dual
Yeah.
overhead. I think they're dual overhead cam, which is really cool because like it hadn't really been done except in like Ferraris and stuff until those came out, and they, aluminum heads and everything. They were really advanced, but I think the technology just wasn't really up to spec for them, so they didn't do it. But I think it was the Cadillacs where I think it was these engines where you could just, if you blew a heater hose or something and you ran it out of coolant, it would just start cutting cylinders and it wouldn't overheat, and you could just drive it until you could fix it, which was pretty cool. Although I'm pretty sure your water pump would just be completely destroyed by the time you actually got water back into it at that point.
Yeah.
Unless it was designed.
The main problems were head gasket, really bad oil leaks, and it would burn oil really bad were the main problems with those.
Oh, so it's just like a Subaru, basically.
Yeah.
No worse than my car. Oh, man.
Yeah, they were initially, it says that they were initially rated at 295 horsepower in 1993. So.
Which was decent for 1993.
Exactly. It's not a bad idea.
90s cars.
A big leap forward.
Yeah, 90s cars are cool because they were making a lot of horsepower out of really small engines, and the 90s Japanese cars were really cool, and the OEMs, the big like US domestics were like they hadn't quite caught up yet, and so you have all these 90s cars, 90s Japanese cars that are like way faster and way more advanced. Which I don't know, I just love 90s cars because they're cool. And I own a 90s
I agree. The 90s BMWs I really like.
Yeah.
The old M3s and...
What? Somebody put a North Star V8 into a Fiero.
Oh, that would be pretty sick.
That would actually be fucking cool as hell.
How much does a Fiero weigh? That's like 2,500 pound car, if that.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, probably, or less. But I feel like the engine was what weighed the most in that car.
Yeah, probably.
Kind of like my car. The engine weighs the most out of the whole car, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that'd be pretty sick though. Of a North Star and a Fiero.
It would have to be quick.
Yeah.
295 horse in a 250 pound car, or 2,500 pound car.
Yeah. It'd be pretty fucking cool. Yeah, so what's next? We got a little off track there, but that's okay. That happens every time. Shit, what are we looking at? The Toyota Highlander. Toyota has been making me slightly angry recently. Because their advertising is shite. But like I don't know. I saw this ad like 1,000 times. It was the ad for the Toyota Tacoma, and it was like going up against a taco truck off road. It's like, yeah, it's gonna fucking win. No shit.
It's a taco versus a taco.
Yeah, and I get the humor, I get the joke behind it, but it's still like a stupid advertisement. I don't know.
I agree.
But yeah, the Toyota, the 2020, what was it, 2020 Toyota Highlander?
Yep.
Probably.
Yep, with the 3.5 liter V6 all-wheel drive and an 8-speed automatic transmission.
How much power did it have?
That's what I'm looking for right now.
Blah, blah, blah. Why do they always tell me like, oh, it has Apple CarPlay, an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system? Like, I don't care about that.
All right, so this is pretty impressive actually. So this is a 3.5 liter V6 dual overhead.
295 horsepower. Wow.
Yep, and 263 foot-pounds of torque. All right, so let's just take this into comparison really quick. It makes 10 more horsepower and I think more torque out of a 3.5 V6 than the Jeep Gladiator does out of a 3.6 V6.
It makes 10 more horsepower and torque?
10 more horsepower, and let's see, what was the torque rating on the Gladiator?
Yeah, the 5.3 Hemi makes 350 horsepower, and that makes 295 with a 3.5. So that's pretty impressive. I wonder how they, because Toyota generally, like, their engines are kind of gutless, just because they're made to last forever. So I wonder if they are sacrificing a little bit of durability on these to make them a little more peppy, or what? So that's actually pretty impressive.
You know, it's not a turboed engine or anything, and this is just, you know, another crossover small SUV and it makes more power out of a smaller engine than
Highlanders aren't like small though.
No,
like they're an actually decent sized SUV.
Right. Similar to the Ford or any of those.
Yeah.
But not as big as like your Suburban or the Escalade.
Yeah. Did I tell you that the Escalade is back?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the Escalade is coming back in 2021. So the overcompensating midlife crisis mom-mobile has returned.
Oh my gosh.
I can't wait for more moms to buy that. Do you think moms will buy that, or do you think grandmas will buy that? Kyle, what do you think?
I think rich moms from the downtown big cities are gonna buy that.
Yeah, I believe it. The Escalade, it's back. The Cadillac Escalade is back. Oh man. But I can't wait to see people buying that again, because they're just so dumb. They're so big and like ridiculously large.
Yep.
And then these middle-aged mothers who have never driven a truck in their life drive them and just fucking sideswipe tiny ass little cars. It's like, I didn't even see him. Okay, Sharon. Yeah, that. But yeah, back to the Highlander. It looks pretty nice. Highlanders have always been just kind of a meh car, and it's still a meh car, but it's all right. I'd drive one probably if I had money for one.
With the 3.5, they're only getting 20 miles per gallon city, 27 highway.
Well, it's a big car.
Exactly. It's not bad at all for that size of a car.
Yeah. So the new Hyundai Sonata. The Hyundai.
These look pretty cool. I think they remind, the front end reminds me of like the old Maseratis, with that big long swooping hood.
Yeah, they have a very long snout that curves down, like a Maserati or like a Maserati or an Aston Martin. Kind of look like kind of have an Aston Martin front end too. Yeah. They're kind of copying. Who was it? Was it Dodge that put Aston Martin front ends on everything they had? Yeah. Yeah, it was Dodge. Yeah. Right?
I'm not sure what you're talking about, actually.
I'm pretty sure it was. Anyway.
What?
Anyway, the new it looks pretty nice. Oh yeah, the Smart Park commercial. Yeah, with Chris Evans. They got Chris Evans to do a Hyundai commercial. Can you believe that? It's a Smart Park commercial. Smart Park. Yeah, I know a guy at at the place where I worked who would talk like that.
Kind of impressive, honestly.
Well, like he was from Boston, I think, and so he'd always talk like that. He was just like, "Hey, Mark." I'm like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And I never knew how to react to it. But yeah, I don't know. I just am not impressed by anything. Oh, they also got fuck. They got John Krasinski in this commercial too. Jeez.
They got who?
John Krasinski.
Sorry. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he was driving the car. Yeah. I'm not impressed by commercials that advertise like one specific feature for lazy people.
I agree. Even if it's a groundbreaking thing,
Yeah, it's
not what the car is.
It's a marvel of computers and engineering. Like, it's cool that it can do that, but I really don't give a shit.
Right.
It's not something I would.
Car.
Yeah, it's not something I would ever trust or use.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't trust it.
That if the smart park system runs into a car, then you blame that it's, you can say it's not your fault because you weren't parking the car.
Oh God.
It can just lead to problem after problem.
Yeah. And the people whose car gets hit they just get thrown around because the owner doesn't want to pay for it because he wasn't even, controlling the car at the time.
Right, he
And
wasn't in the car.
And the Hyundai who has fucking billions of dollars in, lawyers, I'm sure, just doesn't want to pay for it either. So you kind of just get fucked by that if you do get hit by it. Like, it's just not. I don't know. I don't trust. Like, I think computers work as an okay fail-safe when human error occurs.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trust it
to be in full control.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it has like an emergency stop or something if it's going to get close to hitting a car or whatever. But, why don't you just try and park your car yourself and climb out the window if you can't open the door?
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I don't know. Something about a car moving when you're not in it is unsettling to me. When no one's controlling the car.
Exactly.
That's just not. No. I don't trust it. I didn't trust it when Tesla did it. I just don't trust it because I don't trust it not to run into me. But yeah, I don't like it when commercials advertise one very specific feature of a car that like 10 people will use. Like, who are you advertising?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it was more for anything. They just picked a really shitty feature to show, but they just got like name brand actors that they knew people would recognize and made them talk like idiots. It's just weird.
However, as far as the car goes, fairly impressive, honestly. I don't know anything about the quality of Hyundai's build or anything, but the starting MSRP is $23,600. And the two lower packages, the SE and the SEL, both come with the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Makes 191 horsepower at 6,100 RPMs, which, that's pretty impressive, and 181 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPMs. 13-to-1 compression.
Wow, that's 13-to-1.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive engine in just this little like commuter car, basically.
Yeah.
And then the higher two package, the SEL Plus and the Limited, both come with the 1.6 liter turbo 4-cylinder, which makes less horsepower than the naturally aspirated 2.5. It makes 180, so that's 11 less horsepower, but it's at 5,500 instead of 6,100 RPMs. But the 1.6 holds 195 foot-pounds of torque from 1,500 RPMs all the way to 4,500 at 10.5 to 1 compression.
Yeah. I can't believe they did 13.
I know, in the 2.5. It's pretty high.
Yeah. I didn't think you could put, I feel like that's getting real close to the limits of normal pump gas.
It's gotta be. My 2016 CR F250 dirt bike runs 13.8 to 1 compression. And that's a lot smaller, little single cylinder engine.
Yeah, wait, but that's a 2-stroke, isn't it?
No, it's a 4-stroke.
Oh, never mind. But does that run race gas?
No, I run premium in it, non-ethanol.
Oh, okay. Huh. Interesting.
Yep, just 91 pump gas.
And it's 13.8 to 1?
Yeah.
Is it carbureted?
No, it's fuel injected.
Okay. That kind of makes sense. And it's got probably a really good fuel map in it. Some timing map.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually has a push-button engine mapping with 3 different engine maps pre-programmed. which is
Huh.
pretty cool. You can just change
So
the engine map on the go.
yeah. So the Skyactiv X engine from Mazda, which is the
Mhm.
spark assisted compression ignition um, uh, that Mazda made. That's like it's a really cool engine. They've basically called it the holy grail of IC engines, and its compression ratio is 16-1, but it's basically compression ignition. So
Right.
like that makes sense. But yeah, 13-1 is ridiculous for like a road car, because my dad has a 426 Hemi with running on E85 with like 12.5-1, and that's pretty
Yeah.
high. So
That is pretty high, yeah.
and that's on like E85 too,
Yeah.
which is like very knock resistant. So
Yeah. But yeah, they claim 28 miles per gallon city and 38 highway. So that's pretty impressive
wow,
out of
wait,
a
38 highway and 20.
yeah, 28 city, 38 highway.
38 high. It's pretty aerodynamic, so the 38 highway makes sense. Because once you get up to speed and you're just you can just haul, and it's aerodynamic enough, you're not burning a whole lot of fuel.
Yep. And like the newer Civics, like the 2016 era Civics, with it was just a 2-liter 4-cylinder. I think it was advertised as like about the same, 28 city and 38 highway. But they'll get well over, well, not well over, but they'll get about 41 mpg highway, and about 32 running in town, out of the 2-liter. And that's just the gas engine. It's not the hybrid. So I wouldn't be surprised if you could get even closer to 40 mpg highway with this, if you're not driving it like you're crazy.
Yeah.
And then the 1.6 liter option with the turbo, they're advertising 27 city and 36 highway. So
27 city and 36 highway with the turbo. What size engine did you say? 1.8?
It's a 1.6 turbo.
Oh, 1.6. Okay.
And that makes sense, honestly. I mean, it's a fairly big car. It's a 4-door. It's pretty long and aerodynamic. That smaller engine, even turboed, you're gonna be getting worse mileage than with a larger displacement, running more horsepower. So
yeah. The only thing is, like, with those downsized turbo engines, like, they make more horsepower, and supposedly they can be more fuel efficient because they're a lighter engine, and they make the same horsepower, but they're a lighter engine, so the car is lighter. But you have to stress the engine more, so the engine has to be a little bit better built. It has to be more overbuilt for the turbo, because it's making more horsepower out of the same displacement or less displacement. So everything's a little more just has to be beefier, and the oil you put in it might have to be thicker, which decreases the fuel economy because of the turbo and everything. So it's really a toss-up on what actually works, but I do love a good turbo engine.
Same here. However, if I had to make the choice, I'd go with a supercharger over a turbo.
Yeah, superchargers are pretty cool. You got a nice whine to them. The Hellcat I drove was supercharged.
Yeah.
Supercharged Hemi, and oh my god, that was fucking cool. It tops out in 4th gear at like 45 miles per hour.
In first?
Sorry, first. That's what I meant. First. Tops out in first at like 45 miles an hour. So it's just got this super fucking long first gear.
Yeah.
and then you shift but like it, because the gear is so long, it doesn't feel like it's pulling that hard, even though it is. And so you just like get on it a little bit and you're like, holy shit, I'm going like 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Just tapping the gas a little. Oh, it's awesome though. It was an awesome drive. Yeah. So let's
4 more cars to go through.
Well, yeah, the Porsche commercial with all the cars doing their thing, chasing the one guy, and they're like, "My turn," and the guy on the tractor.
The Taycan Turbo S was the one actually being advertised. Is that correct?
Was it? I thought it was a electric car. Oh, yeah, the Taycan Turbo, because it says turbo, but it's not actually a turbo car. It's because it's electric. Right.
It's electric. And that really threw me off, and I was disappointed.
Yeah.
But advertising 750 maximum horsepower, 774 foot-pound of torque. So,
yeah,
you know, a pretty cool car overall.
Yeah, I like
transmission.
To what?
A 2-speed transmission, it says.
What? Really?
Yeah. However, the big downfall to this, I think, is the range on it is 192 miles.
Yeah, it has like worse range. It's way more expensive than a new like Tesla Roadster, and it has worse range. And it might be a little faster, I think, but not much. And it's got worse range. It's like, wow, how did they do that?
Yeah, it's just kind of ridiculous.
You might is that like the average range or the maximum range? Because I'm thinking maybe if it's more powerful than the Tesla, then you might be able to, like, you know, you can push it harder. It's got a similar size battery pack, but you can push it harder, and so the range is reduced because the power is higher. And so if you just drive it like really slowly, maybe you can get the same range as a Tesla. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Their rating says EPA battery range 192 miles.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty awful.
And that's the thing I really just don't like about electric cars, you know, is you have so much of a range, and then to be able to go any further, you have to sit and let it charge for what's it, like half an hour at least. You know? So if you're trying to like travel somewhere, it's not a good option.
They're not good traveling cars.
Exactly. You know, if you're commuting short ways to work every day or whatever.
The weirdest part. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I'd just say that would be sweet to not be able to, or not have to spend money on gas all the time and everything.
Yeah.
When you just charge it every night, but where it's really a great option.
Yeah. The weirdest part about this commercial for me though was the Porsche, and I don't know if that's a classic livery, but it's that Porsche race car with the livery on it. It's got the same livery as Ken Miles' GT40.
As what?
Ken Miles's GT40. You know, have you seen Ford versus Ferrari?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, Ken Miles was back when they raced the GT40 at Le Mans against Ferrari. Ken Miles's GT40 was colored the same as one of the Porsches in this commercial, one of the race cars.
Okay.
Which is really, it throws me off, and I don't know if that's like a classic livery of theirs as well. Is he right? Oh, right.
Is it the orange one?
No, it's the blue and orange one. The number 21 at the back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Because at first I thought it was a GT40. I'm like, what's a Ford doing in a Porsche commercial? I was so confused. But No, it is a Porsche, and you know when you actually look at it, yeah, it's a Porsche, but it's just weird because it's got the same livery that like Ken Miles basically had on his car. It's almost exactly the same. The colors are almost exactly the same. So that's just
Yeah.
weird to me. But
And wasn't that just a sponsor livery? Or was it like actually a Ford livery originally for the GT40 when they were racing that?
I think it might have been a Ford livery because it doesn't have any brands on it or anything. On Ken Miles' car, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it threw me off on this commercial. But yeah, talking about electric cars like the Porsche, we can talk about the Audi e-tron.
All right. Commercial? Not a big fan. The whole "Let It Go"
Oh yeah,
theme. However, I did like the car that she was sitting next to. Commercial is
the Charger.
Charger. Oh yeah, I'd rather go for that. However, that's not what the commercial was about.
I hated the lip syncing the most.
All right, so Audi e-tron 0
and
to
she's
60.
like not even attractive. The girl in the commercial is like not even attractive. Oh god. Like I'm sorry if if you actually watch this, but I'm sorry.
But anyways, for that big of a car, 0 to 60 in 5.5, I'm kind of impressed. That's
Yeah,
not
that is
bad
pretty
at all.
impressive.
402 horsepower is advertised, and once again, they're trying to claim their off-road performance capability. It's just another crossover with all-wheel drive.
Yeah. I'm getting really fed up with all these crossovers. But there's a comment on this video, on the video of the e-tron, and it says, "I'd crush a new R8 to get a B-body charger like that." There's that charger in there, and it's like, it is really nice. Like, you got to admit, Chargers are one of the meanest and best looking cars you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I love Charger.
They're like, I don't think anything today that's made today even comes close to how good those Chargers look. Like, they are they're so mean, and like, they're just, oh god.
I know, all muscle cars, they all look better than anything that's come out today. And
yeah,
I wish they would actually make a real muscle car.
Yeah.
Instead of all these, like, the new Chargers and Challengers and
which are based on Mercedes.
Yeah. Why don't they just go back to the drawing board and make them look like they used to?
Yeah, or come up with something new for once. Nothing these days is very new. Everything's based on something else. And it's like, just do something new for once that's not like terrible and based on something else that was also terrible. But like, yeah, the Chargers, like, if you ever the chart, like an old B-body Charger, when you see them and they sit and they've got a big engine in them, and you see them like rev and the whole body leans as it revs.
Yeah.
Oh god, it looks so angry.
Block torque.
It looks like it wants to eat you.
I agree.
It's so angry. It's like fucking Satan's chariot. It's so angry and just ready to fucking eat. Hungry, like a wild fucking animal. But yeah, there's a lot of a lot of the electric cars ads are always like digs toward other, icy engine cars, and it's like, okay, but like, and I guess that makes sense because the only people who are gonna buy electric cars are the ones that are trying to save the planet, in quotations, anyway. So they're gonna buy a brand new car that, consumes a shit ton of fossil fuels to build in the first place. But whatever.
Also, claiming off-road capability with 20-inch wheels and tiny tires. Come on, don't do that. This car is to drive in the city.
It's a suburban mom car. We all know it. The suburban moms just want to feel good about themselves.
3 inches off the ground, too.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's like the new, the Ford Mustang Mach-E.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what its ground clearance is?
No.
5.5 inches.
Yeah.
Less than 6 inches of ground clearance. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do with that? Absolutely nothing. That's what. So yeah, all these new electric cars and stuff and new crossovers that claim their off-roading capabilities, and it's like they show them like driving off-road and stuff, and then you see like a car that can actually go off-road, like a Toyota Tacoma, and it's advertising itself against a taco truck, and you're like, why? This is the one time that I would actually be accepting of a commercial. Maybe they're trying to like have a subtle dig at like all these new crossovers that claim they can actually go off-road, and I guess maybe everybody knows that a Tacoma can go off-road anyway, so they really don't need to advertise its off-roading ability. I don't know, maybe I do like that commercial. Maybe I like it for how, you know what, I take it back. That commercial is comedic genius. I take it all back. Comedic genius, guys. All right, moving into another electric car, because every car coming out today has to have some kind of electricity to it. The electric Hummer. Kyle, how do you feel about the new electric Hummer?
Honestly, don't know much about it yet. I think they should just come out with a new diesel Hummer, maybe with a Duramax with 500 horse and 1,100 foot-pounds of torque. But, I think it could be a cool idea. But what's the range going to be like? This is a huge rig, most likely, unless it's going to be like more of the H3 style that's really small, or if they do something terrible and make it another crossover or something.
Yeah, I don't know what their plans are with it.
Right.
0 to 60 in 3 seconds is impressive.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty darn.
I don't think they even know what the range is going to be yet. So
right.
I don't know. But the thing is, even if its range is great, I would never use an electric Hummer as an off-roading vehicle.
Exactly.
I would never use any electric car as an off-roading vehicle, because what are you gonna do if
it breaks down,
runs out of power, anything like with a gasoline car, I can just fucking take an extra fuel tank with me.
Exactly, or you can fix it out there in the sticks if something happens.
Right. If something goes wrong electronically on a Hummer, when I'm like out in the middle of nowhere, I'm just kind of fucked.
Exactly, and that was the thing with those other electric trucks that were coming. What are those called?
Well, there's the Rivian R1T. There's the Cybertruck.
Yep. The Rivians. No, I hate the look of the Cybertruck. Let's not even go there.
Not even gonna go there. Okay.
The Rivians. I was looking at those, and those are pretty cool, and the whole idea is really cool with an individual electric motor on each wheel,
Mhm.
and
Which
pretty good
which would
tunneling
give you
capability.
hub motors on each wheel would give you a fair amount of ground clearance too. It'd be pretty
Oh,
nice.
absolutely. But the thing is, exactly like you said, you get out there and something goes wrong, you're done. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do. And especially with I think they call it the skateboard, the battery that runs along the whole bottom of the car.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because if you like if you high center it or something
Exactly.
and like puncture a battery.
The first thing that's gonna get damaged is that big battery that's your only hope of anything.
Yeah. Whereas yeah, and then like people like electric cars are actually, they're fairly dangerous. Like a gasoline car, you've got a big old firewall, you've got a whole lot of metal in between you and the, explosions going on inside the engine. And
Right.
if something goes wrong, generally the engine will fail before it gets to the point where it can cause too much catastrophic damage to anyone near it. Right? And if you've got a hood on it, usually the hood will catch a lot of it. A lot of like shrapnel if it, happens to blow up that bad. But in an electric car, you've got these electric motors with a huge battery pack on them. And like, yeah, there's fuses and stuff. But like, if you, short out one of those things, and like, if one of the insulators isn't quite right and you get into some water, you could just, you could kill people really easily that way.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of bad things that can happen.
Yeah. And I mean, electric cars can be great, but like, there's a reason that electric cars, like, especially in like sanctioned race events, electric cars have to undergo a lot more strict things, and like competitions and stuff, because electric cars are very, like, the high voltage of an electric car is very dangerous. Or the high voltage of a hybrid car, it's very dangerous voltage.
Yeah, any of the concept pictures I'm seeing of the electric Hummer, it looks pretty good, honestly. The looks like it's probably based off of the H3 body style, a little smaller and rounder, but it doesn't look too bad. I honestly really like the look of the grill that was advertised in the Superbowl commercial. Just that one line all the way across of that LED light with the Hummer etched into it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, Hummers.
And then
Hummers are the whole, I don't know. I like Humvees. I never really liked Hummers because I thought they were kind of stupid. Because the whole point of a Humvee, it was built so that, the driveline, the engine, everything was way up inside the Hummer. And it had a special drive system so that the wheels were way below it, and you had a lot of ground clearance that way. But then they took the Hummer and they made it with just normal Chevy shit that, it didn't have that same ground clearance. So there was really no point to it.
Right, exactly.
What it felt like for me.
Into a big boxy Suburban.
Yeah.
From going from the Humvee, the H1, and then making the H2, which is, a little bit more civilianized or whatever, seems more practical to like city drivers or whatever, or off, back in the dirt road country. It's a little smaller than the H1, but it doesn't have all the practicality as an H1 does if you're really doing off-road stuff. And then they came out with the H3, which is just even smaller and just looks like an FJ Cruiser.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hummer, I don't know. And I don't know about an electric one. If they make it well, I could see it being cool. But even even if it's made well, I just don't see it being useful because I would be too afraid to take it out into the middle of nowhere and like actually go off-roading with it because it just, I don't know. I don't trust
Exactly.
a electrical drivetrain as much as a internal combustion one because it's just, I don't know.
And like I said, if Hummer came out with a new like H2 sized Duramax Hummer, SUV or truck, that would be really cool and really useful. You could haul with it. You could go do basically anything with it, size limiting. But I think that would be cool. But everybody's wanting to move towards the electric world, and where we're at with the electric world right now, we can't go 100% into that because we just there's so many unsureties of it so far.
Yeah, I know. I know how it feels. But yeah, all right. Well, it's been a little over an hour. I think that we're gonna end there for today, and we will see you guys next time. Unless you had any last remarks for the audience, Kyle.
No, I don't think so. This was fun though, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man. Come back anytime you want.
Sounds
Alrighty.
good.
Stay classy, retards. Peace out.
I gave you everything, held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me.